Here's an interesting question. All the time that you worked for, or all the time that you spent working at death row, is there anything that you had access to that you wish you would have kept? Whether it's photo albums or, music, or, looking back now that you wish, damn, I wish I would have taken that or kept it or whatever. Not stole, but
My
you
money.
know what I mean.
Oh, my money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This nigga was riding around in a V6, costing $2,900 a month lease. Stupid shit. I had a house in the Marina Del Rey, one in Corona, one in Ladera. Stupid shit, man. Stupid shit. Stupid shit. Oh, the building. The building I just saw about 2 or 3 years ago. A building that I bought, Suge bought for $1.5 or something million from Chuck Norris. It was Chuck Norris production building. He bought it in like 94, 95. I bought from Suge in 97, 98. It's goddamn fly. 97, 98, for $3 million. That motherfucking building I saw sold for like 18, almost $19 million. So yeah. But nah, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about like pictures and stuff like that.
If you or your child spent years growing up on social media and experienced serious mental health struggles, you should hear this. Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms. They knew their apps could contribute to anxiety, depression, and body image issues, but did not share those risks while prioritizing profits. The recent historic verdict underscores the consequences of those decisions. Now Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm they've caused. Click the link in my bio to take a short quiz. You may be entitled to potential recovery of up to $1,000.
I had everything. I had all of those pictures and all the letters that anyone that wrote Suge in prison and all of that. But I didn't have no need for it. Thank God I didn't, because the feds would have eventually took it all, because when they came raiding, that's why y'all see I'm always hiding shit like my plaques and my jewelry that I had and all of that shit I was like, these feds ain't coming back to get this shit while I'm on probation. Because they just come in your house and take every goddamn thing. Yeah, I wouldn't believe some of the stuff that had nothing to do with nothing. They took just to mess with me. And so, but now there's no more. And I ain't doing nothing else stupid. And so I can break out with stuff. But yeah, but there's stuff that I know his dad has, and unfortunately gonna come out, because I don't even think the sisters care, but his niece, my girl Wild thing, I think she got access to, because the dad was living with them. I heard he moved back to Mississippi or somewhere, and I think she was getting to a lot of that stuff and was leaking it out. But there's a lot of VHS tapes of private parties and pictures, explicit pictures and stuff like that was taken during that time, and that I think is going to surface up if anything ever happened to Suge or the dad. Yeah. But mainly, I think she'll even wait until something bad happened to Suge.
Yeah. And you were saying, and when you handed over the Tupac masters, or when you were going through them, all the written out lyrics.
Yeah, the lyrics. Well, that was actually, I think I did the right thing on that.
You did, yeah.
And that was inside of all the music box when we was doing the transfer. And then y'all don't believe me, Reggie's lying, that certain person like to say I'm lying and I'm lying. But actually, Edie, I remember we was in Skip Saylor's studio, and Pac, that genius motherfucker, inside of all the 24-inch reels, he had his lyric sheets written out on paper inside each one of those boxes. And I always wondered what happened to him. And I'm not saying Edie kept them.
No,
I don't believe that at all. But Edie said, "Hey, Reg, can I take those?" Because our intent was to take the reels to give it to Interscope.
Right.
And Interscope was going to hold everything. That was like the buffer between, the escrow company or whatever
Yeah.
for Death Row and Amaru, or the estate.
Mm-hmm.
Death Row and Pac, which was the estate. And but I let Edie take those out and said, hey, just take these and give them to the mom. Yeah. But I noticed in the exhibit, I don't recall seeing any the lyric sheets.
They had some.
They did have some.
Yeah, but not a lot of the Death Row stuff. It focused more on the track list. It had all his track lists that he had mocked up or planned out and stuff like that. But yeah, not a lot of those.
Oh no, he had every song that he wrote on on pieces of paper, wrote out.
Yeah.
And then the box with the reels of those particular songs.
Yeah. When you got those reels to do that with Edie, how did you know that you got all the songs? Because I always heard that there were reels that were mislabeled or that
Reggie Wright ain't never been to the Pacific Archives in his life. Ever.
So was it Butch that went and grabbed that stuff? Okay.
Butch Small was in charge of doing that. All I was there for was to make sure that Edie would say, this song is missing.
Okay.
I think we did this song.
Yeah.
Where this one at?
Mm-hmm.
But Edie eventually signed off on everything that we, that we turned over.
Right.
And was pretty much told it, because he was like the representative for the estate.
For the estate, yep.
And he kind of must have, because they wouldn't have did the deal with us if they were still felt that there was some
you guys were, hiding
game.
some stuff, yeah.
So he had to either tell them, hey, we're missing this song, and they just like, all right, they ever come out, we'll deal with them then.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been the conversation, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't ever remember Edie saying, where's this song at? Where's this particular song at? Because to be honest, I think nobody knew. Yeah. Everybody was just trying to go off their brains. It wasn't like it was written down or anything like that. Yeah. Trying to remember what they recalled.